Niue's Legislative Assembly met once again yesterday to discuss and go over the second reading of the Immigration Bill 2011. There were lengthy discussions over the bill, some proposed amendments, implications of such changes, as well as recommendations made by the Bills Committee. Interesting to note, earlier on into the day's discussions, a clause within the bill that focuses on the rights of persons not born in Niue under Clause 5 was removed on recommendation by the Bills Committee. This clause was later replaced with a new clause to make provisions for those who have been born in Niue, but for medical or educational purposes were born overseas. However, the key provision being that the child must have a parent who is a New Zealand citizen or a permanent resident and ordinarily resident in Niue. There are a total of 44 clauses in the immigration bill. The Assembly is due to meet again to continue the second reading on Wednesday next week. With just over 6 weeks to go, plans are in motion to host the second Niue Cultural Arts Festival. In 2009, the inaugural festival was launched as an initiative between the Ministry of Pacific Island Affairs and the Niue government with the aim of bringing Niueans back to their roots to rediscover their Niuean identity. In a week of celebration of Niuean culture and arts, this time, however, Taonga Niue is the driving force tasked with preparations and are estimating that it will cost government approximately $30,000 to host the event. Taonga Niue Director Moira Enetama says that the dates from the 22nd to the 29th of April have been set for the biennial festival that will coincide with the school holiday break as previously agreed. Some of the high-profile Niuean artists that have been confirmed for the festival include Shei Fu, Diana Fuimana, Marie Webster, just to name a few. The challenge now will be pulling together all resources available to make this festival happen and create hype as a lead-up to the event in line with the festival. That is, bind together our culture, our people, our livelihoods. European Union and Niue continue to progress ahead with the renewable project with more funding in discussions, especially the Liulo project. According to a delegation of the European Union, Lanek Shojalin, the update of the renewable energy project is working well and continues to do so, with more development for the near future for energy efficiency.
As part of the EU funding, an electric cable, 40 kilometers of electric cable will be supplied to Niue, and we hope that the first drums will be arriving in about a month, around March or maybe April. The fiber optic cable you're mentioning, I think, is funded by New Zealand Aid, but there is coordination amongst the two projects so that the trenching can benefit to the two projects and actually to the water department as well, as I understand that some water pipes will be laid down as well.
Okay, so you talk about this cable that is going to be funded by the EU. What does that supply?
As far as I understand, some part of the cables which is running around the island has been faulty for several years. So the project will be about replacing these faulty cables and also put underground some of the electric grid that is still above the ground today around the island. That's the purpose of the project. As far as I've could witness and I've spoken with Niue Power, it runs very well. These panels at the high school, Niue Power, and the hospital are producing electricity. They're well connected to the grid, and it's very satisfactory as far as I'm concerned. Now this new project will be about extending these arrays and installing a few more panels around the island.
The other major project that has been proposed is the much talked about Liulo accommodation development. Mr. Jojalin said the next round of funding from the European Union is for Niue community development, and Liulo was identified to implement the project and with interest from all villages on the island.
There are still discussions. Nothing is written on stone. I understand that there's been some discussions ongoing on how best we can use this allocation. Discussions are still necessary as far as I'm concerned. Nothing has been decided yet. There are some options presented, and this needs further discussion. The principle of this support is that all communities in UA should benefit from this allocation, and the idea is to maybe have one location which will be rehabilitated for tourism purpose, and then have a trust so that all communities are represented and the profit is redistributed amongst all communities. That's quite an important principle. We've learned from some lessons from the previous intervention we had, and splitting the money in small projects around the island has not been beneficial always. Some projects are very good and sustain themselves without problem. It's been difficult for some other projects. So by concentrating the support to one place, ensuring that the benefits are shared among communities will probably be a best option for the future.
The discussions are expected to extend a few more months before a proposal is put to the village for the development if all parties agree. It seems that the heavy downpours the island has received over the last 3 months has sparked dire effects for yam plants on the island. Concerns raised by farmers this week prompted the Quarantine Division to look into what was affecting the plants. Through correspondence with SBC, it has been identified that the disease is in fact the yam plant anthracnose disease, a disease caused by a fungus that leaves large and pinpoint spots on leaves and at times causing the yam tuber to rot and low yield production of certain yam species. Niue Quarantine says that the disease has been dormant in Niue for a few years and says that the two most important disease management strategies are to grow resistant varieties and to ensure that planting sets are pathogen-free. For further information regarding this disease, contact the Quarantine Division of the Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. The French Navy boat La Relouse arrived into harbour this afternoon and will dock till Sunday. The patrol boat visits different islands around the Pacific, and they will descend on the island. Approximately 30 crew members are on board, with a few predicting to take on a local soccer team on Friday afternoon. If you are interested in checking out the most competitive soccer game on this side of the Pacific, be at Paliasi School Grounds tomorrow, Friday at 4 p.m. And to end our news bulletin, a correction to our news bulletin. On Tuesday night, the current China ambassador to Niue, His Excellency Xu Xiangkuo, is not the first ambassador to present his official credentials. He is actually the second representative to do so from the People's Republic of China. BCN would like to apologize for the incorrect message. That's our news bulletin for tonight.